Okay, so these are the exercises that I covered in my class on how to get the splits on your weaker side, but it could be for anyone who doesn't have their splits on any side yet. So first of all, make sure you're really warmed up. So even now, I've done splits thousands of times in my life, but it still takes me about 40 minutes to warm up before I do my splits. So don't just go straight into it. Yoga's good for opening up the body. Cardiovascular activity for at least 10-15 minutes is really good. So when you're nice and warm, you're going to open your legs out into a triangle, keeping your hips square, as if you're going to go into the splits. If you're working on your weaker side, then have that in front, that leg in front. And you're just going to open your legs out until you feel a stretch. So we're not going straight into our splits, we're just going to slide out. You might want to have 2 chairs either side of you to hold on to, or blocks on the floor. Keep the hips square, and then stop as soon as you feel something. So I'm stopping here because I am feeling something. Identify where it is that you're feeling this stretch. So I stopped when I felt something here. So the first sensation, stretching sensation that I felt in my body was here. This is my hip flexor. Other places that you might feel it are, the common areas are your hamstrings, in the front leg, or your quad in the back leg, maybe your abs. So identify what it is that you feel first. Where do you feel the stretch first? Here, 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 or here. And it might even be somewhere else, somewhere completely different. So we've all got completely different bodies. But the most common areas will be your hip flexors, hamstrings, and quads. So I've identified that my hamstrings are, my hip flexors are holding me back today. So I'm going to show you some hip flexor exercises and some hamstring exercises. The hip flexor exercises also stretch your quads. So let's go. You need a wall for this one. So the leg that you want in front for your splits is going to go in front, and your other leg, your back leg, is going to go against the wall. So your knee goes into the corner where the floor meets the wall. Come up, and you want to be able to push your head to the wall and just rock gently forwards and backwards, feeling that stretch through the hip flexors and the quad muscles. Really gentle rocking, pulsing, just pushing forwards and backwards with my hips. You could make it deeper by making sure that every time you come up, your head touches the wall. Do this 10 times. Then we can slide the front leg out, keeping the hips square, and come into a really deep lunge. Make sure the knee's above the ankle or behind it, but definitely not in front of it. So now I want to work on pushing my hips down towards the ground. So I'm coming up and down. And we'll do this at least 10 times. So if you want, you can play some music and just hang out here, swaying, moving to the beat, or you can watch TV whilst you do this. So we're just pulsing, pushing the hips up and down. Then we're going to bring the hands inside the leg, and you can open your foot out to the side, allow that knee to go outwards. And here, again, we're going to sway, we're going to rock around in circles. Just identify at which point you feel the pulling the most in your hip flexors and or your quad muscles. And just work into that, breathe into that area, roll around in it. So we're not holding ourselves in this stretch, we're constantly moving. Even though it's gentle movement, it keeps the muscles warm. And it allows us to ease, in my opinion, this moving allows us to ease better into the stretch. It's also a good distraction. Now from here, take your opposite hand to opposite foot, reach back, so a nice shoulder opener. And you want to pull your foot in towards your bum. So you might not be able to take it very far, like I really can't today. And again, gently pull it in 10 times, 10 really gentle pulses. Four, 3, 2, 1. Release. Now let's square off the hips again, bring that leg back in, and we're going to straighten the front leg and slide it out. So only take it as far as you go. This is a bit of a killer, so take it as far as you can go, and we'll just hold it here. If you want, you can do some waves with your spine. 10 waves. So this one's stretching the hamstrings and the hip flexors. Now, as you can see, every time I do a wave, there's less space between my hips and the floor. And when you're done, come out of this and have a little shake. So hamstrings, that's our hip flexors. If you want to stretch out your hamstrings, it's any exercise really that involves a forward fold, any exercise that involves keeping the legs straight. So this is stretching out the hamstrings. I'm going to show you my favorite hamstring exercise. So we're going to lie on our backs. And it's a PNF exercise, which is about the relaxing and contracting of the muscles. So you strengthen and stretch your muscles. So bring the front leg in your splits up, straight up, whilst you're lying on your back. And you want to take hold of the leg wherever you can, just not on your knee. So you could hold it around your thigh or around your calf. And then think about how straight that leg is. So my leg feels straight, but actually I know that I could take it even straighter, like that. I'm almost hyperextending that knee. I'm imagining that I'm pushing my knee backwards. And this really targets my outer hamstrings, which is the ones that I need to work. Okay, for our PNF stretch, I'm going to clasp onto my leg tightly, making sure that it's as straight as it can be and in its maximum position. So for me right now, this is the maximum my leg can go, staying straight. I'm going to pull my leg towards me, and at the same time I'm pushing my leg away from me. So I'm pulling with my hands, but my leg wants to escape the grasp. My leg wants to come away from the hands. And we're going to hold this for 6 seconds. So, ready? I'm going to pull with my hands, and I'm going to push away with the foot, with the leg for 1, 2, I'm squeezing everything. 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to relax and gently exhale and pull that leg closer to my body. Now, do this as many times as you want, at least 3 times, and you'll feel your hamstrings relaxing and your leg coming close to your body. Then you can do your splits. So, a nice way to get into your splits when you've done your hip flexor, quad and hamstring exercises. So a good way to come into your splits is to start in some kind of lunge position. So can you see the difference between pushing back and lunging forwards? Pushing back, lunging forwards. So we'll start in this lunge And really push the hips forward so you feel that hip flexor stretching. So I'm really pushing the hips forwards. Then I'm going to push the hips back, straighten this front leg, and do some waves with my spine. Then I'm going to slide my foot out a little, back into my lunge. In my lunge, I'm going to push the hips forwards, down and forwards, a few times. I'm relaxing and melting into this. Then when I'm ready, I'm going to push back, do some waves with my spine. And keep... Right, my camera died, so I'm redoing this last bit. So just carry on. In the lunge, you're pushing the hips forwards and down. Everything's soft and relaxed and nice. Like I said, have some music on, watch some TV. Push back, doing the waves. Really big wave, so you really access the hamstrings. Slide it out until eventually there's very little space between your hips and the ground. And you may be able to get all the way down. If you are just a couple of inches from the floor, so if you're up here and you're feeling stuck, you can carry on pushing and squeeze your bum cheeks together. So imagine that you're squeezing a £5 note or a dollar bill between your bum cheeks. Really squeeze that note. Someone wants to steal it off you, so you're squeezing even tighter. And then just relax. Oh, they can have it. They can have that £5 note. I don't need it anyway. And come all the way down. When you're down, make sure that your foot's rolled outwards, your legs rolled outwards and not in. Your hips are square. So both hips are facing forwards, and you'll be able to come out to the side of your front leg like this, which makes sure that your hips are square. Ta-da!